Why is this team like this? Before we get into breaking down the Vikings victory over the Saints, news did come up from Kevin O'Connell that first-round pick Lewis Seen is staying in London to get surgery. He had a fractured lower leg. Obviously, when it happened, it looked ugly. Unfortunate break for the kid. Everybody was pushing for him to get playing time. I know he was kind of active on Twitter this last week talking about it. Then he finally gets in there a little bit, and of course, I believe, was it a special teams play where it happened too? I think it was on a return or something.
Yeah, it was.
And
Nice
unfortunately for
return
him,
too, I think.
Yeah. But unfortunately for him, ended up in a broken lower leg. Hopefully, thoughts were with him. Quick, speedy recovery. I mean, it's going to take a while, but minor setback for a major comeback. Next year, hopefully. We know he's got a lot of talent, so thoughts are with him. And it's an unfortunate loss. It really does. It really does suck. Two of our top 3 picks now have been a little bit by injury. So
yeah.
But yeah, I just want to start out with that. But anyway, let's get into some happier news. Minnesota Vikings win another nail-biting game, 28-25 over the Saints in London. I put it out there, I was expecting this to kind of pull away and be a blowout by the end of it. I'm done expecting Vikings games to be blowouts. I thought under the new regime, things would change. It's the same old shit. This team is just that. This is how this team is. And
yeah, but the difference between the difference between this year and last year, though, is at least we're winning these games far compared to these, at least in the last few weeks. Right? Obviously, the Packers was like a really good win. We started off with a great win, but then the last 2 weeks in particular have been against teams this team we should have really beat, just because they had all the injuries and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, at least we're, these close games, there's still that feeling like we're still going to win this. It's just not pretty. And that's something to be positive about, I guess.
It's definitely a growth point, that's for sure. Because under Zimmer, we would never see anything like that. So, but offense, it's just there was so many of the drives that we had. We marched right down into the red zone that we just couldn't finish the job. And I know, you texted me during the game saying the Saints, which you got to give the Saints credit. That defense is really good. Yeah. They have been good at keeping teams from scoring touchdowns this year. But there was just too many miscues. Play calling, I wasn't a fan of on multiple occasions. Yes. The miss to Jefferson, you got to put that on Kirk and JJ a little bit. I think Kirk threw it a little bit behind him. Justin Jefferson, it still hit his hands. You got to catch the football. Kirk did seem a little bit shaky today. Not everything was perfect, but at the end of the day, when he needed to make some throws, he did. And you got, you can't, I don't want people to call me out for this because, yes, you will blame a lot on the drops. There's way too many balls that hit receivers in the hand and they dropped him. Johnny Munt following from the school.
I'm not going to put that one on CJ, though. That was a tough catch. I seen them trying to put that on him. Yeah. No, that would have been a tough catch.
Right. But anyway, Johnny Munt, taking lessons from the school of Irv Smith about dropping passes that are hitting you in the hands, that are huge plays that could score touchdowns. This game felt like one where we should have been up by a lot more than we were. But of course, we're the Minnesota Vikings, so we make everything as difficult as possible. But
yeah, I'm hoping next week against the Bears is going to be the game that we blow them out completely. Yeah. No, we'll probably still have mistakes, but it's not going to like this game was. I was hoping that it seemed like it's going to be. This is actually the second against the Packers, and then now this game where we came out and scored. We scored on the first drive for our first drive, right? In this game, or was it the second? Either way, it was just early, and then after that, we just weren't able to do a lot, especially after having some turnovers and say, actually, you know what? We should almost start with this as well, as just the special teams was huge for us today. It was everything today. I mean, nice kick returns from Keeney, a good punt return for Egger, nice punts from Wright, including a fourth down conversion. Yeah. Even though Greg Joseph missed that extra point, he was still 5 for 5 on field goals. Mm-hmm. And I actually missed this play. Unfortunately, it was the punt return, I think, and I don't know what happened there. Chris Boyd.
Oh,
I don't. Yeah. What happened? I missed that, actually. I walked away for a second and came back, and all of a sudden it was our ball again.
Yep, stuck him and he fumbled, and Chris Boyd jumped on the ball.
Ball. So, I mean, our special teams were huge that game. And honestly, without a huge spot that we needed a huge point of emphasis this offseason to fix. And it came up huge for us this game. And we should talk about that for sure. Other than that, though, I mean, but because of that, we did have opportunities on offense multiple times, and we just couldn't convert. But we're against a pretty good defense. Even if their offensive players were hurt, their defense was healthy and they were
Yeah.
fine. So their
Yeah, for sure.
defense was the same, and their defense has been their best part of their team this
Yeah.
year. So they did a good job holding us. But yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, we won. I mean, we won this game, and
Right.
and we should have won, and it looked like we were going to win the entire time, even if we didn't score in
Right.
times we
See,
should have scored, I guess.
yeah, and like I said, I was red zone offense, red zone play calling. I was a little bit concerned with, but overall, like
Yeah.
starting out, you get Justin Jefferson the ball in his hands any way possible, and that's what we did. He even
Right.
he
Right.
scored on a jet sweep, and then you motion him around. That's great. You spread the ball around. Adam Thielen was
Right.
involved a lot today, and you notice when Thielen's involved, the offense runs a lot more fluidly. People forget
Yes,
how
it
good of a
does.
receiver Thielen is, and we still didn't get the ball to KJ till the fourth quarter. So
Right.
like, there's a
Right.
lot of potential on this offense with like receiver wise. Irv Smith even had a decent catch and run. So there's offensive line today was not a good day for the offensive line. Brian O'Neill got destroyed on a couple
And a
of
couple
reps.
false
Obviously,
starts as well.
Cam Jordan's an amazing player over there.
Yes, dude.
But something I did want to talk about when it comes to this offense is Delvin Cook. Now, I've been very critical about the injuries with Delvin and the money that he's making.
Mhm.
And like, I understand being tough, but at the same time, if your shoulder isn't going to allow you to play football the way you want to, you're being a liability on the field. Like, I understand not want to let your guys down and not be out there, which I get if you're going to use him as kind of like a gadget guy or a decoy, sure. But if you're actually going to use him like you want to use him in the running game, it just ain't going to. And we saw that it didn't work. And obviously, Madison didn't have really that much more success.
He
None of the
did have
ball
that really
actually.
nice touchdown run though
Yeah, dealt or
on third and 8 or whatever. That was
oh,
huge.
the catch and run, yeah. So
Oh,
otherwise
that's what
he
it was.
only
Yeah, it
had
was a
three.
little catch.
Otherwise he only had three carries, 3 yards. Delvin was
Right.
20 for 76 though, which is good. Well, 3.8 average isn't that great, but I don't know if he's just not 100%. I think he's a liability out there, and you saw that today. He's not breaking tackles like he used to. So I don't know what to do there, but yeah, like you said, it felt good. Like the team, it was one of the most frustrating football games I've ever
Yeah,
watched in my
yeah,
life.
yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't really yelled at the TV much this year. I was doing that a lot today just because some of the play calling, the penalties, a lot of stuff like that. But I think the biggest, ire to me was this defense again. No Jameis Winston, no Michael Thomas, no Elvin Kamara. Mark Ingram was out. I love me some Latavius Murray, but you let that guy run all over you. Your run defense was bad. Again, just playing soft. Cam Dantzler and Patrick Peterson, give them both a lot of credit. We were a little bit concerned about them this week.
Yeah.
They
Yep.
both played really,
They
really
did.
well.
They did.
So, and then, when Dantzler was forced out and Caleb Evans came in, he had good coverage on that play. That's just a really nice catch or pass and catch from Dalton to Callaway there on the sidelines. But
Yep.
overall coverage I thought was pretty solid, but there was just those plays. They were letting way too much room in front of them. And as we saw in the Chris Olave touchdown, which was kind of a product of that, it's just this defense is still very concerning to me.
Yeah.
So if they can fix the defense and this offense just keep building on this, but just learn how to score down in the red zone, this could have been a whole different ballgame. It didn't need to be 28-25 where Greg Joseph had to come save the day with a game-winning field goal again,
Right. And I want to say, yeah, like back to what you were saying about Adam Thielen getting involved early. He did. I mean, he ended up with, I think, what was it?
8 catches, 72 yards.
8 catches, 72 yards on 9 targets. That's huge. That's what we need to see out of him. I would like that to see a little bit more to KJ Osborne. I know we had that. He almost had that early touchdown that JJ got the pick for.
Yeah.
And then obviously he got the catches later on in the game. But yeah, I mean, getting them more involved, it did open up our offense. I think one thing that's just annoying is as soon as we seem to like open up our offense, we're getting momentum, we're calling good plays, and then all of a sudden we'll do a little screen pass and then on first down and then it goes nowhere. Then we run on second down, goes nowhere. Now we're third and long, and then
we get a penalty.
Get a penalty or whatever, and our momentum like goes away, and then we have to punt the ball off or whatever. So that's like the only negative thing on offense that I continue to see. And on defense, like we started off doing pretty well, honestly. We held them to 7 points for like at least go like the first half, right?
Yeah.
I don't think they started scoring until after that. So we were looking good. I still don't see a lot of pass rushes. There was a really nice one right towards the end of the game
where Harrison Smith got in there.
That was a great, perfect blitz play call right there. And they need to continue. They just need to do that more. We've called it before. We need to continue doing that. And again, even though I said like our defense held them pretty good in the first half, obviously, besides the run game, obviously they didn't have all their talent and stuff. So that's worth talking about too. But the thing that concerns me again, especially with the coverage, is Andy Dalton went 20 for 28, and before that, before like the last drive or whatever, the last couple drives, he was I think 19 for 23 or something like that. But that's just too consistent. Like all these quarterbacks we're playing against are just too consistent, and it's just obviously it's not just the quarterbacks. It's because we're giving too much room or something
Right.
on defense, because there's no
Yeah.
reason why the Andy Daltons and the Jared Goffs and all those guys should have like a 90% completion
Yeah.
percentage.
And honestly, I felt like the defense started off doing what they were supposed to do. I
Yeah.
mean, throughout the game, forcing 2 fumbles. And then this just jumps right back to the offense again. The defense and special teams put the Vikings offense in good positions to score, and we just couldn't get it, done. And that's like, to me, that's one of the more frustrating parts. And defense, they did all they could for the most part, held them in check. At the end,
Yeah.
again, they got really soft. So Donatel just needs to figure that out.
They just need to be more aggressive.
Exactly,
Maybe
and
more
that's part
aggressive.
of it. And
Call
that's
more
like the biggest
blitzes.
part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. We just need to get to the quarterback. We can't let these guys have all day. It just feels that way. But yeah, back to some positive notes though, is we have to, even though these are teams I feel like we should beat based on talent, I mean, the fight's there though. The
Right.
fight's
Oh, for
there.
sure.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's 2 games back to back that it wasn't looking good at many times, just for at the end of the game for us to step up and just win these games. Like we've done it back to back weeks, which is really good to see. Obviously, we need to put it together all around, but it is nice to see that at least when it matters, we are winning. And now we just have to figure out everything else.
Yeah.
Like mid game, we have to figure out the mid game stuff. I want to, like Chicago coming up, I want to go out there, and I've said this even going into this game, but especially against a Chicago team that's not that great. I want to see 21 first half points with like 3 touchdowns, because I know we're capable of having a game like that. I know we are. It's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know what it is. It's like it looks like that's what's going to happen. We get to like their 40-yard line or half midfield, and all of a sudden we go 3 and out from there or whatever. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you think? I don't know that, but
so like quietly, Justin Jefferson had a huge day. I actually just looked at the stats. I mean, I knew he was playing well.
Yeah, bring up the stats. Bring up the stats.
But seriously, like 10 catches. 10 catches for 147 yards. He had no receiving touchdowns, but the rushing touchdown, the rushing touchdown. Like quietly, he had a huge game. Like I wasn't even really thinking about it. Then I looked at that. I'm like, oh yeah, I guess so, because he had the big bomb, and that was Kirk put that one right on the money to him at the end of the game. Imagine if he
scored that. That would have been like a 70-yard touchdown.
Yeah, that would have been great for my fantasy team as well. Which I mean, I think they're still doing okay at the moment. Kirk. But yeah. Anyway, Kirk Cousins, 25 to 38, 273, 7.2, the 1 touchdown, the 1 interception. Which I felt he kind of stared down Irv Smith, double clutched on it. That didn't go the way he wanted to. But at the end of the day, still played well enough for us to win. Ryan Wright, as you mentioned, on that fake punt was nice to see.
Yeah, man, I love the balls on that. I love that shit. Yeah, even if we didn't convert that, like everybody would call him that's terrible play call. That's the difference with one of those plays. If he didn't make that, everyone said it was a terrible play call. I don't care. I just like balls, because the coaches that win, they, at least most of the time I see, they have balls. They go for stuff like that. And same with the quarterbacks that win. They also have balls. And I'm hoping we continue seeing Kirk Cousins to play with some balls. He does play with some balls towards the end of the game. That's like something you just notice with him. Yeah. I just want him to have big balls the entire game.
Clip that. That'd be great for a soundboard. But yeah, I don't know, man. It's just this game. It was seriously like, I mean, who knows? Someone might call us a whiner again for this, but it was one of the most frustrating wins I've ever watched in my life. I was so mad. I just texted my dad and brother. I said, fuck this team. Like, it's just so frustrating. And like,
it's hard.
I've been a fan of this team since I was probably like 14, I think 15 years old, somewhere around there. And I never bought into the fact that this organization might be cursed. I'm starting to buy in that might just be the case, that we might just be living with this no matter who the head coach is. We might just be living with this for the rest of our lives. But hey, if we win games, What's exactly, and that's what you said about Kevin O'Connell. And that's what it goes back to. Do I question some of his play calling and whatnot? Sure. Do I wonder why he didn't call a timeout at the end of the first half? Maybe he was just trying to get
Yeah,
their
that was
defense out of sorts. I get that if you're going to hurry up, but they still wasted time. But the thing is, he instills fight in this team, and that's the team believes in him, and they didn't give up. There's many times where they could have, and they just didn't do it. I mean, and it's just they're gutting out close wins. Now, do you hope eventually they start to pull away in some of these games, or at least play pretty? Sure, but you got to take what you can get, and 3-1 looks pretty good, especially going into a game against the Bears. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like if we, it would be one hell of a roller coaster ride, but if we win the rest of our games just like this, it would still, like, I'm cool with that, because that would mean the Super Bowl win. I don't care if every game came down to this, but we kept winning. That's okay. That's the cool thing about football. All that matters at the end of the day is you win, even if it's an ugly win. Obviously, there's things that make you more concerned about the future of your team, but at the end of the day, we still won, and it was a team against the Saints. Obviously, they didn't have their starters or whatever, but we went in there thinking we should win. Same with the Lions, we should win. And even though we were down against both the Lions and New Orleans, especially the Lions most of the game, there's just that feeling that, our team is that team that is going to still win this game. Like I didn't feel doubt. Like against the Saints, I didn't feel any doubt that we were going to lose, really. Just because I just felt like it was a game we're going to win. And I do feel that at the end of the game, when it comes down to it, I think I do have that confidence in Kirk, even if I say all these bad things at this point, that he'll step up and help us, at least put us in the position to win these games.
Right.
And
sure.
I honestly believe that. I just think you need to play like that earlier so we don't have to get into these situations where we need to win games.
Yeah.
And it's not just on him, of course, but
right.
There is a difference between him throwing that deep ball down to Justin Jefferson at the end of the game and not seeing that the entire first 3 quarters,
For sure. Yep, definitely. But yeah, we talked enough about the offense. We talked a little bit about defense. Let's get into some stats here. The defense did get, I believe, 2 sacks, one from Delvin Tomlinson, one from Zadarius Smith. DJ Wanham had a nice tackle for loss where he really flashed. I love seeing that. Cam Dantzler had a couple nice tackles where he came up in the run game.
Don't forget the Delvin Tomlinson forced fumble there. That was picked up by Phillips. That was huge.
Yep, for sure. That was a big point in the game as well. And like the defense gave the offense a lot of, opportunity, some short fields with the turnovers, and just the offense just couldn't capitalize on a lot of them, which was kind of frustrating. But and then at the end of the game, I think the defense did get a little lazy, especially in the run game. Started allowing Murray and Ingram when he came back to kind of run over them. And then obviously just with the soft covers that they play, which is just frustrating. It's something that needs to change. And it's really, I don't know. It's bothersome to me. I can't get over just how just piss poor this defense can look with all the talent on it. It's frustrating to me. And I just
need some edge. We need some sort of edge on that defense. I don't know what it is. And that's like one thing that Zimmer did have, at least part of his career, is I feel like we did kind of have a little bit more of that edge to us. I do think that's something that's missing so far. So someone on our defense needs to come in and jack everybody up and lay some bodies out there. With us losing Lewis Seen probably for the year.
For sure.
Someone else is going to have to step up and stack bodies.
Stack some bodies. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The defense is just the biggest point to me where I'm just like, if you're going to, and here's the thing, like next week you got Chicago, right? And I know nobody played in the preseason. This Chicago game this week is the last chance you have to like finish off your preseason and kind of get the team to gel and fire on all cylinders. Because after that, you go to Miami. Even without Tua, that's a dangerous football team. Then you get your bye week. But then after the bye week, you have a really, really tough stretch of games coming up after that. So this team needs to be prepared when that hits. And as of right now, it's fun to watch these. I mean,
I'm going to the Bears game, by the way.
Oh, are you?
I never told you that. Yeah.
This week? Nice.
Yep. I'm going to the Bears game. I just like a couple days ago, my mom wanted to go and bought pit tickets or whatever. So
nice.
So we're going to dominate.
Get some live coverage from the game. That'd be cool.
It's going to be we're going to destroy. I honestly 100% believe it. We're going to destroy them. It's going to be our best complete offensive performance. I would say the same thing for the defense, but that's not that impressive against that Chicago team. I just want to see our offense come out on all cylinders against Chicago. And when we go into Miami, I want that confidence because I do think I 100% think we have more talent than Miami. They've been showing up better than us this year. There's no question about it. And obviously Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill are beasts. But outside of those two, I like our talent more than them. Even I would pick Kirk Cousins over Tua right now. Maybe not in the future, but if I was to say like this is my quarterback today, I'm probably picking Kirk Cousins. So I don't know. I want to see that confidence against Chicago. We didn't. I was hoping to see it against New Orleans. I wouldn't say we're quite there yet. The fight between the Lions and the fight between the Saints is something to be happy for, I think, because these are teams we should beat, and we don't let them beat us, I guess. And we are 3-1 now, which is obviously, I would like a little bit better wins, but still 3-1. That's fantastic. We should beat the Bears. That's another team that we should just win, and I think we'll win whether it's ugly or not. But I'm hoping it's not ugly. 4-1, we go to Miami. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
what do you think?
3-1 is 3-1. As we said after last week, a win is a win is a win. Was it ugly? Sure, but it's more things that now they know that here's what we need to work on, and it's on offense. It's consistency. It's just not having those plays that sets you back. Maybe just a little bit better play calling. Again, I can't say much. Obviously, I'm no offensive coordinator. I know Kevin O'Connell's smart, but some of the plays, I'm just looking at them like the screen game, just missed time screen and screens and penalties and stuff. But if that offense can get more consistent, start taking advantage some more of those red zone opportunities. The defense, again, like I said, defense is where I'm the most concerned. Like they got to and I think it's all just aggression. Maybe they don't trust coverage of the corners. I don't know. Maybe that's why they don't blitz as much, which wouldn't make any sense, I guess, now that I think about it. That was pretty dumb. But like I just don't know what it is why he doesn't want to be more aggressive. So that needs to change. Special teams, just keep doing you. Matt Daniels, I will say I think he's the best hire of the offseason. Greg Joseph, his 2 misses last week were from his career long. That's whatever. Ryan Wright, great backup quarterback, maybe even. Who knows? That was a nice throw today on that play.
Yeah.
Really good punter. Kene, I know he had a nice return, but I wish they would tell him not to sometimes, especially in that key situation at the end of the game. Jalen Reagor, he's catching his punts, and that's about all you can ask for with that. And had a decent return today as well. So I don't know. Again, it's just.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say one thing to we do have to keep in mind the whole KOC is a new head coach. And even though it hasn't been perfect yet, and his play calling hasn't been perfect, his time management hasn't been perfect, specifically with timeouts and stuff like that. But he is a new coach, and there is going to be a lot of learning and a learning curve for him. At the end of the day, he started off 3-1, which is fantastic for a brand new head coach.
Right.
And it is true. Hopefully he can keep getting better and get a better understanding of the play calling and like the right. I don't know what it would be like to start as a head coach. I don't know how many. I should almost go back and look at like what's the history of brand new head coaches. Like, do people come in and they just automatically make this team way better for the first time they've ever been head coaches? I don't think it's like that. There is a lot of decision. There's a lot of emotions in there that you have to get over. There's just so many different things. So to start as a head coach 3-1, even if there's some ugly wins in there, that's still obviously a massive positive. And just hopefully he keeps getting better with all of that, and we do see improvement. But on defense side of things, I think that's going to be a little bit slower because he isn't the defensive coordinator and he isn't a defensive minded guy. So I don't really know exactly how we should do that, but hopefully we can just learn to just be more aggressive, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. At the end of the day, it's a win. Well, we know what we need to work on. Big game coming up against Chicago with a chance to go to 4-1. Let us know your thoughts on this Saints game down in the comment section, and we'll see you guys next time on the GG Sports Podcast.
Skol Vikings.